intimacy?
Yeah, it's close when I always like to say we like to smell the people. We don't like it when it's like they're half a block away. It's very distracting this way. When we're close, it's much better because it's immediate. It's like an embrace.
And you can almost sort of, and I'm not a performer, but I'd imagine you kind of feed off the energy of the people being so close.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. We don't play by. Some people play just very distant. We thrive on hearing them moan and groan and screaming. Whatever they scream is welcome.
There's been an article recently in a paper here in town saying that the Sunken Gardens, or the folks that manage the Sunken Gardens, they don't want to put any money into the Sunken Gardens for the acoustics and for the seating because they don't want to encourage more rock groups to come and play there. We don't need that. But it's such a great theater. I mean, what do you think? Would you like to see it, enhanced and kept alive and see more artists like yourselves playing there?
Yeah, I think so. I believe that the musicians, unfortunately, are giving a weird title. Like, for example, people who play music, popular music the way we do, we're put in a different bag than, let's say, symphony. It's like all of a sudden they're brain surgeons and we're like plumbers, kind of thing, But in reality, for me, it's all about service. It's how well you really touch the heart of the listener. It don't matter whether you're Pavarotti or Bernard Bernstein or whoever. It's like the goal is still to be able to touch people's hearts and make people feel better about life. But unfortunately, I think musicians who play popular music or rock and roll or whatever, we're put in a different bag, and they don't realize that we are closer to the youth than the so-called legit symphony. Yeah, I think the young people they're saying this is old music from 200 centuries ago, and this is now, and
it doesn't have almost any legitimacy, I guess, maybe, is that?
Well, they do, because I think that a lot of Caucasian people spend a lot of time and energy and money on it. This is why they have classical radio stations. But in my mind and in my heart, I think that anything classical, which means something that is great yesterday, today, and tomorrow, that's a classical. Well, Billie Holiday should be in there, and so does John Lee Hooker and a lot of people like that. I think that it shouldn't just be Beethoven or Mozart. I mean, after all, Mozart would probably get his butt kicked by Prince today, or James Brown, you know what I'm saying? If he were here live, because James Brown and Prince can also put on like an opera show, a visual. Yeah. It's not just play, So, I think that in time, the people of America will wake up and be able to put our own music, Duke Ellington, in the same category as these people, because that's the criteria for being classical. It's forever great.
Well, it's interesting that you use that word classical, because many people have referred to you as a classic, as a legend. Their inspiration for getting into music, because you've been doing it for so long, so well. Do you kind of go, don't give me that title, I'm just playing music?
Yeah.
Or is it a nice feeling too?
Well, it's always a compliment, but I don't look at it. I don't take it like that. My father is a musician, and all the people who I really love. John Lee Hooker or Miles Davis or Jimi Hendrix, we don't really think ourselves as personalities. I think that, again, this is Los Angeles, that they're into personalities over there. We're more like, we know that we have a resonance, a sound. They can touch the heart. We see this every night, so if we don't know by now, but we see this every night, and I think that most musicians who can really play, they always see that the women are the barometer for when it's happening, because the women are the first ones that their body changes differently, and and if their husband or their friend tries to touch them while we're playing, they say, hey, I'll deal with you at home, but right now, this is my totality, and I'm, and the women, like I said, they're the first ones that react about the music, and they feel very spiritual and sensual at the same time. And I just start giggling because I see it every night. It's like, oh, there she goes. There's one. It's like next thing you know, it's a very euphoric kind of thing. It's like children who are naked. There's no guilt or shame because there's no malice. You know what I'm saying? So there's no malice to music. Creating an atmosphere where you truly give and get a spiritual orgasm. There's no malice in that. This is what life is really about. I mean, when women and men reach that moment, they always say, "Oh my God!" So it is spiritual,
Well, I was at the concert last year and was one of the ones that pushed my way to the front and was really enjoying the show. And I was also observing you, and I thought, this isn't just a man who's out here to put on a show or out here to perform, but you're having a good time. You're enjoying it. You can see that it's really something that comes from the heart. That's a passion for you, isn't it?
Well, this is our message this year. Our message is to invite people to create a masterpiece of joy in their lives, because as you know, most people are not happy unless they're miserable. And there's a lot of people out there with broken hearts, and I think that they feel like that because they don't feel that they're worthy of God's love. And I don't push religion or anything like that, because I know that that's a very corrupt business, like politicians, like a politic thing. But spiritual is very important, because spiritual is one-on-one with the Creator. You don't have to go through an institution. You don't have to go through a whole maze of, but we do invite people to create a masterpiece of joy because we believe that the music has a resonance that connects the molecules, the cells, the DNA back to the light. We come from the light, and somehow a long time we were convinced that we're animals and people, animals and human, but that's just like 25 and 25, that's 50%. What about the other 50%? Which is spiritual, and I think the music is when music is played correctly and sincerely. When I see women and men crying and laughing and dancing at the same time, this is a form of healing. I mean, it really, really is, because in order for you to feel good, you have to let go of something. When you let it go, you cry and laugh at the same time because you're being released from something that you were holding on to, and so for me, every night the goal is to get people to embrace their totality, embrace their duality. In the future, there's not going to be any right and wrong, good and evil, good and bad. This is the third dimension, so there's a lot of judgment and there's a lot of guilt. In the future, it will just be oneness and harmony and perfection and all the things that you can't buy, all the things that the government cannot give you or religious people cannot give you. You have to get it for yourself from within. But you got to make time, at least 18 minutes a day. Visit yourself. Just.
Do you meditate?
Yeah, it's important. It's just like you tune your strings, or you tune anything, or meditate is to embrace the invisible.
It's hard to meditate. It's hard to get that other stuff out of your head.
Yeah, so you have to chant, "I am that I am the light." If you breathe 4 times in, when a baby cries, or even when adults cry, the first thing they do to get back, they go, and 4 in, 7 out. And when you meditate and you do that, each time you do that, it's like a rung on a ladder. You're going up until you go to this place where it's just you and yourself and your spiritual self. Then you hear concepts, words, visions, poems. I mean, this is the room of creativity.
So this is where you get some of your inspiration. inspiration.
Yeah, from meditation, because you go beyond the mind. The mind is very calculating. My mind is like a computer, so you got to go beyond the mind, you know. And which brings me to the two words splendor and rapture, which is what we like to turn on the young people to. Because if young people would know about splendor and rapture, they would not suicide or commit homicide. Because once you know,
Such an uphill
yeah.
battle, though. You've got everything working against you. You know, I mean, society working against you for these kids.
Yeah, but like I said, once you teach children how to work with colors, how to work with sound, and how to visit themselves, if teachers would take children to a sunset, and you say, look at the sunset, and children go, he says, you can never capture the sunset, painting it or even a photograph. It doesn't do, in other words, teach children to appreciate beauty that you cannot measure or buy. And then once they grow up, they can still see this beauty on a rose or on a brand new baby, or, you know, there's a lot of beauty that we don't focus on. And once we learn to focus on it, then we don't have time to feel self-pity or insecure, because when you see beauty, you see you. You know, so this is what we want to encourage also people through our music, is to teach other children to identify with splendor and rapture, because once you know that, once you know rapture and splendor, then you have respect and reverence for life. You don't need a gun. You know, it's a contradiction to be a Christian and be packing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you really believe in spiritual values and grace, then why are you packing? That's a contradiction, you know. So put the gun away, or put Jesus away, and protect yourself with a gun. But you can't have it both ways. Yeah. So this is our message. Where is LA or New York or San Antonio for the young people is embrace the invisible, because the invisible is it's not luck or fortune, it's grace. You know, and those things will make you more. If you write down your heart's aspirations, your ambitions, and if you see that it really benefits all people, you get it like that.
Yeah.
If it only benefits, you know, like yourself, you're going to be crawling instead of flying. You know.
You like coming to San Antonio, don't you? I mean, you come here every year, it seems like.
Yeah, it's another home for us, you know. Again, the word totality comes into mind. I think that there's a lot of people who really identify with what we're trying to do, and not so much me, the as a personality or the music, but the intentions. You know, they know that my intentions is to be touched and touch them in a place we haven't been touched before. Yeah, and so it's nice to come here. I love the way it's all coming together in here also. You know, this city represents a key point in the change of history for Americas. You know, and but it's time for us to put our differences aside, and I'm talking about Caucasian and Mexicans and black. You know, it's time for us to see the totality. You and I are total entities. You know, you've been Irish and Mexican, and you are everything, and I am everything. We can't afford anymore to say, well, I'm a daisy and you're a rose. No, we are the whole thing. We've been murderers, and we've been raped, and we've been rapey. We are everything. And once we start seeing it like that, the totality of ourselves, then we can understand compassion. We can understand more patience with each other, instead of like what's happening constantly in the Palestinians and the Hebrews. You know, I would hate for that to happen here in the United States between Mexicans and whites. So it's time to like come together, you know, and let the Caucasian people know that we are invisible because we choose to. When we don't want to be invisible, without violence, we can show you that you need us. You need us as babysitters to clean up every room in every hotel in California, you know, to pick up the tomatoes. The day that we stop, you stop completely. You know, so without violence, we can present to you that you need us just as much as we need you. You know, and so to me, to come to San Antonio is it's important because I think we're planting that seed of we're giving you a choice here. You know, we can do it by grace or we can do it by
force.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we see too much force now. I think it should be a natural thing. Like when women have children, you know, it shouldn't be forced. It should be like having an orgasm.
Yeah, tell that to all the childbearing moms.
No,
out
there is a way. You know, there is a way. People have experimented and they do it in bathtubs.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, people do it. They breathe. Same thing. They call it birthing. Okay. There's things that we have to teach our sisters, our daughters, or, you know, that there's a new way to give birth, if you will, that we're not using because of the.
Yeah, it's called epidural.
You know. So anyway, so flip.
You talked a little bit about service, and I think, and my impression, and I could be wrong, is that this wisdom and this serenity has been an evolution for you over the past 20 or so years.
Yeah, I'm still working on the serenity, you know, because I'm a very passionate person, and a passionate person tend to get either laugh a lot or be angry a lot. You know, it's like because passion is a fuel, you know.
Fiery, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It can burn you, or you can give light, or you can burn yourself out, you know. But you know, I have learned to become more happy because I'm beginning to see the completion of duality, you know, and I feel more oneness now with.
Are you happier now?
Yeah. Because I have the choice not to look at myself as a victim, you know, and once I found, I met my wife, Deborah, you know, we met in 72, we got married in 73, and I knew that I would never be the same, you know. I knew that I would be on a journey of like peeling myself like an artichoke. And she would, because as a comedian says, if you want, she says, you know, you don't know how many faults you have till you get married, so you can have a woman to point.
To point them all out, right? You did this, you did it.
You know, but I mean, even though it's funny, it's true, because if you don't want to change, then you don't get married. You know, but if you really truly want to make progress and you want to change, and you don't want to do the same dumb things, you know,
yeah.
then that's why you get married, because you're going to have a soulmate mirror. You know, you help her out, she helps you out, you know, and it's I think it's called crystallizing. It takes two souls to crystallize a better reality for the world, because one person gets, you know, one person, you can't do it. You need the whole fullness of it.
Strengthen that foundation.
The masculine and the femininity got to go together. Even within lesbians or homosexuals, there still has to be both elements in there.
You're right.
You know, somebody still has to cook and somebody has to clean the house. Still, we can take turns, but you know, and I think that's the best news that I have for the world, is that everywhere we go, we see a great effort in the feminine side reclaiming her place in the world, you know, because it's only been 4 years since they had the first woman mayor in Japan, and all the men were freaking out, you know.
They're still freaking out, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, so this is what I tell people, is that daughters, mothers, sisters, wives, it's their responsibility without force to really this is why people want to come to America, because this is more balance.
For that equality.
Exactly. Women have taken a whole new level of existence here in the United States. You know, and this is what should happen from Mexico to Brazil, because over there, a woman is to balance the man, to say, you know, hey, it's okay if she wants to play with your truck, it's okay.